Hey everyone, welcome to No Studios at Home. We have a very lovely show for you today with Desi, who's going to be taking us through some empowering yoga, which will be much needed these days. Before we do that, though, we're going to do something a little bit different. Desi and I are going to talk very shortly before we get started. Because let's face it, there are a million yoga instructional videos of all kinds. You know, type it in on YouTube and you'll spend the rest of your life mimicking poses. What we're concerned about here at No Studios is not always so much the how or even the what, but the why. And Desi has a story, and I want to know what it is. So welcome, Desi. And I'm sorry I don't know your student, but we will get to meet
My
her.
student's name is Asia. I worked with them at
Hello.
She's also a yoga instructor, so we're gonna have a good time.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I guess we'll just get started. We'll jump right into a couple questions, and then we will do some yoga. All right, so first of all, Desi, what was the journey that led to your yoga practice?
Well, I started yoga in college. I feel like a lot of people say that, but it actually wasn't college that really connected me to it. I started taking donation-based classes at the Pink House Studio in River West, and the class that was free was this class called Yoga for Recovery, and it was for people who were dealing with addiction, and I wasn't, but it's the one that was free at the time. But I still found it very, very useful to me. And the instructor even told me that, you know, we have addictions of all kinds, whether it's substance, whether it's emotional. And she was trained in Iyengar yoga. And that class was interesting because we would do just a few poses in the whole class, but the idea was to hold these positions for an extended period of time and breathe through being uncomfortable. And what I had found in these poses that I never felt before was an emotional response. I would feel an emotional release and I would cry a lot of the times in class, which was pretty powerful for me because I never experienced that before in a yoga class. And a couple of years later, knowing that I knew there was this experience that could help me understand how I felt through movement, I kind of had decided that I wanted to be a yoga teacher after going through some pretty tough experiences, knowing that I could teach my body something new, and I could work through the emotions that I was feeling, all because of my experience that I had in this class. And the idea of that is called somatic therapy, is that, you know, if your body goes through some kind of trauma, the idea is that you teach your body something new so that it knows it's okay and it knows that it's safe. So I really wanted to deepen that thing that I experienced and, you know, get some knowledge on it and become a yoga teacher.
Fantastic. Wow. And my second question was kind of the why, but you wrapped that all in. So that was a good journey, good answer. I will ask the next one then, which is a little bit different. So who are you, Desi, in addition to being a yogi and a yoga instructor? I mean, and kind of the second part of that question is, you know, you do other things, I assume. You seem like an interesting person. And does your practice, you know, influence the rest of what you do, your physical, mental, spiritual life? You know, what do you do? How does yoga play into it? Does it play into it? Can you kind of talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Well, I'm a musician, and I
What do you
I'm
play?
not sure. I'm a vocalist, really, so no
Fantastic.
instruments really, but um, as far as yoga influencing that, I think my music is going to influence yoga, if anything. I really want to learn, and I'll be doing a sound healing training this year. To
Sound
bring,
healing.
yeah, to bring in my love for singing into my practice. So eventually, if my friend Asia here was laying down in Shavasana at the end, I would probably sing to her. Um, and I feel like when you're vulnerable in that way, like using your voice, it allows other people to open up in different ways. And obviously, too, sound can be healing and has its effect on like your physiology and your biofield. So I'm a musician and I love sound for that reason. I think it's healing, and it's healing for me. I also started teaching myself pole dancing during quarantine, and
Cool.
yoga definitely goes hand in hand with that. There's actually a picture that'll probably show up eventually with a pole dancer named Sammy Pacone. She's pretty popular. She's worked for like Erica Badu. She's worked for Summer Walker. I got to train with her before the lockdown in March, and she's an acupuncturist, and she's actually um, claimed to cure her kidney cancer through through spinning pole, which is actually pretty meditative, and you have to have a certain level of body awareness and to use your breath to really do some of the wild things that people like her especially are capable to do on the pole. So I do that. I think definitely yoga helps with that as far as the stretching goes and the body awareness goes. Um, Otherwise, I'm just chilling, especially now, like these days. So those are my biggest things.
That's
Thank
good. That's good.
you.
That's awesome. Well, I guess one more question and we'll get into your practice. Um, so the to make it about us for a second, the motto of studios, kind of our mission, what we subscribe to, is to socialize with purpose. Those are John Ridley's, carefully chosen words. Those are engaging, purposeful words. How would you, Desi, describe that phrase, as socializing with purpose relates to your life?
Well, definitely choosing to be a yoga instructor is one of those things. I think your career is definitely a social aspect, what you choose to offer the world. And I mean, we talk about this, especially in like recent current climate. Like, if you choose to be a police officer, like, you're choosing to support and socialize a racist system, right? Like, so in my way of being a yoga instructor, I thought it was a way for me to not only provide myself with sustenance and a livelihood, but I felt right and like it aligned with my morals of how I want to interact with people and what I feel like I can give. Um, and also just like choosing spaces. Like, we both worked at Center Street Wellness when it was open, and we chose to be there. It was a new space. It wasn't exactly an established space, but you choose the communities you want to be a part of and to support them and to create the kind of space you want to see. And that's the kind of stuff I think the way that I socialize anyways, like just being in spaces that I want to build with. We go to Alice's Garden pretty often, like on Tuesdays they have free yoga, and they have their markets, and just like being a part of stuff like that is definitely like socializing with purpose, like
Of
most of it.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love asking people that because there are as many answers as there are people that I ask. No two answers are the same, and it's a beautiful thing to me. Fantastic. That's all I wanted to ask. I just wanted the people within the sound of our voices to get to know you, because it's about the stories, right? And now it's about some empowerment. So, Desi, I'm going to hand it over to you, and thank you in advance.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so for those of you at home, you are welcome to use props if you need it. I'm not sure if Asia is going to be using props today, maybe just one. And then also, if you have like a blanket or a pillow, if you don't have blocks, I usually recommend, like, say if you have like a big jug of water, at home. That tends to be stable enough to use. The blanket can either be used for your knees, or at certain points you might put it under your seat to use as well. So to begin, we're going to start in a child's pose. So you would start in a tabletop position, just on your hands and knees. Your knees will spread as wide as the mat. Big toes will come to touch. And then you'll begin to bring your seat back towards your heels, extending your arms out in front of you, your forehead gently resting onto your mat. Just taking a moment here to notice your breath. Noticing any tension throughout your body. And in the spaces where you notice any of that tension, begin to send your breath there. And as your breath travels, imagine it as a color, maybe as light. Maybe it looks like water. We'll begin to engage what is called an ujjayi breath, which is inhaling and exhaling through the nose. We do this because the nostrils are a smaller passageway than the mouth, so your body starts to create an internal heat and create more energy, which helps ease the muscles and deepens your poses for your practice. As you start to inhale and exhale through the nose, your breath may become audible, mimicking the sounds of an ocean wave. From child's pose, we'll come back up into a tabletop position. So your hands are aligned underneath your shoulders. Your knees are aligned underneath your hips. Moving into a cat-cow. So on your next inhale, your gaze will come up as your belly drops towards your mat, creating a U shape with your back. Exhaling for cat pose, gazing towards your belly button. Your back will round like a cat. Inhaling for cow. And exhaling for cat, taking this movement on your own a few times, remembering to inhale and exhale out of your nose. I encourage you to also find any movement that feels good here. Still connecting to that ujjayi breath. And when you're ready, finding stillness back into your tabletop position, preparing for a downward facing dog. So first, we'll tuck our toes underneath us and slightly lift the knees up off your mat here. Engaging your core as if you were sucking your belly button in, sending your hips up and back towards the ceiling. Feel free to pedal out the feet here in our first down dog of the practice. Checking in with your hands, being sure that your fingers are spread wide. You're pushing the mat away. Shoulders are relaxing away from your ears, down your back. It's okay to keep your knees bent as much as needed, being sure to keep the spine elongated here as Asia's doing. Finding stillness in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, look towards your hands and gently walk your feet to meet your hands for a ragdoll position. So you're in a forward fold here. Your neck is relaxed. You're allowing your shoulders and your head to hang here. Option to grab onto opposite biceps, swaying from side to side, releasing the lower back. Shaking your head yes, shaking your head no. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Releasing now your fingertips to the mat. On your next inhale, we'll come to a halfway lift, so your fingertips will come to your shins. Your spine is straight and your gaze is looking down. On your next exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose, so you're coming to standing pose here. Arms will reach up towards the ceiling, shoulders are relaxed. Your hands will come back to heart center for standing at attention pose. I invite you to gently close your eyes here. Standing at attention pose is a good opportunity to set your intention for the rest of your practice today. This simply could be telling yourself, I am peaceful. I am enough. My offer for you is to remind you that your breath is always here to support you. Softly allow the eyes to open, and on your next inhale, arms will rise to mountain pose. On your next exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step it back to a high plank. Option to drop your knees here if you would like. As we begin to lower ourselves down all the way towards our mat, keeping our elbows in towards side body, coming down to our belly. Moving into baby cobra on your inhale, chin and chest, lift off the mat. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise, baby cobra or upward facing dog. So your arms are extended long here, pushing the mat away. Chest is coming forward, gaze is forward. Asia's quads are also engaged, so they're lifting off the mat here if you are able. On your next exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a moment to reconnect to that Ujjayi breath if we aren't already. Breathing in and out of the nose. Moving into sun salutation A. So the idea here is to move with your breath on each inhale and each exhale. When we do this, we get into what's called a flow state, which is almost like meditating, except we're using our body. Taking a moment to breathe. So from downward facing dog, on your next inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step it back to high plank. Lowering down into our low plank. Inhaling baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling downward facing dog. Inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise to mountain. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back, Chaturanga Tandasana, high to low plank. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. One more time, inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to mountain. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Step back, high plank to low plank. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a moment, 3 breaths, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Letting go, just for now, anything that may have come up in the practice this far. Remembering the intention you set. Dancing Warrior Series is next. Inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. And from mountain pose, we'll sit back into what's called a chair pose. So our hands can either stay extended out in front of us or come to heart center. Checking in with our knees here, making sure they're not coming over our toes. If you would like, your feet can stay together or they can come hip distance apart. Asia is demonstrating as she puts a block in between her legs here. Holding for another round of breath. On your exhale, folding forward. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back, high to low plank. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, your right leg will rise. The goal here is to keep your hips level. So it's not about how high your leg can go, just making sure the hips are straight. On your next exhale, you'll bring your right foot in between your hands. So you're kind of in this lunge position. Moving into Warrior 2, your back heel will come to the ground, so your foot's at a 90-degree angle. Your arms will circle up into a T, lifting up your torso here. Being sure to keep a bend in that front knee. Checking to see if that front knee is aligned with your ankle or your heel. Keeping your core actively engaged as if you're sucking in. From warrior two, we'll move into extended side angle pose. So you'll slightly reach forward and bring that right forearm to your right knee, extending the left arm overhead. Remembering to breathe. Reversing your warrior. The left hand will now come back down the left leg. Right arm will reach towards the ceiling. Being sure not to scrunch that left side body, but rather we're reaching through the right hand. Gaze can stay towards the fingertips, or you can look down towards that back foot, whichever is easiest for your neck here. On your next exhale, the hands will meet the front foot. Stepping your foot back, high to low plank. Inhaling upward facing dog. Exhaling downward facing dog. Now for our left side, inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, step the left foot through between the hands. Rising for warrior two. Arms are at a T. Checking in with your feet here. From warrior two, extended side angle. Bringing that left forearm to the left thigh. Being sure not to rely too much on that thigh. So playing around maybe with lifting up the arm, using the core, setting it back down. Reverse your warrior. Right hand comes down the right leg, left fingertips reach towards the sky. Exhale, hands come down to meet the front foot. Stepping that left foot back to meet the right, high to low plank. Inhaling upward facing dog. Exhaling downward facing dog. Moving into one breath per movement. Inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, step it through between the hands. Inhale, rise to warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, plant the hands to meet the front foot. Stepping that right foot back. Inhaling once you lower it down for upward facing dog. Exhaling downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, step it through between the hands. Inhale, rising to warrior two. Exhale, extended side. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the mat, to the front foot, stepping it back, high to low plank. Inhaling upward facing dog. Exhaling downward facing dog. One more time, inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, step the foot through between the hands. Inhale, rise to warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, circle the hands down to your mat. Stepping it back, Chaturanga Tandasana. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Last time, left side, inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, step it through between the hands. Inhale, rising strong to warrior two. Exhale, extended side. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Imagining that color that you saw in your child's pose. Exhale, plant the hands to meet the front foot. Step it back. High to low plank. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a moment, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Moving into our crescent series today. So on your inhale, the right leg rises. Exhale, stepping that right foot between the hands so you're in that low lunge. Except this time, we'll drop our back knee down to the mat. And when you're ready, you can either use your knee to get up, or if it's okay, coming from the floor, but we'll come to a modified crescent. So the arms can extend overhead, or if you'd like, they can come to heart center. We'll be taking a few motions here to open up the shoulders. And if you haven't connected to the breath already, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, this is a really good opportunity to do that through some fluid motion. So from our modified crescent, our arms will rise up overhead, relaxing the shoulders. And on the exhale, your arms will come back behind you. Inhaling, reaching forward into this power lunge position. Then coming back up to crescent lunge. Again, reaching the arms back behind you. Coming forward into a power lunge. Back up to crescent. Doing this another time on your own breath. Connecting your breath with this fluid movement. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Meeting back in our modified crescent lunge. Hands can come to heart center here. You have the option to stay in the modified crescent, or if you would like, you can tuck your left toes and come up into a high crescent lunge. So bringing that back knee off the mat here. Taking a moment to breathe. From crescent lunge, whether you're in a modified version or in the regular crescent lunge version, we'll come into a revolved crescent lunge. So we'll bring our right elbow to our left knee, or actually, the other way around. So you're in a twist here. Twists are good for aiding and detoxifying the internal organs. So I encourage you to breathe deep here in this pose. Slowly coming back to center in your crescent lunge pose. Once in crescent lunge, your hands will meet your front foot. Stepping that front foot back to meet the back foot. Lowering down. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Doing this on the left side. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, step the left foot between the hands. So you're in a lunge position. Dropping that back knee down to the mat. Coming up into our modified crescent. Taking our shoulder opener movements again. Rising to crescent. Arms are overhead. Extending the arms behind you. Reaching forward in a power lunge. and back up to crescent. Again, on your own breath. One more time, remembering to breathe. Finding stillness in your crescent lunge position. And if you would like, staying in the modified crescent, so keeping that knee down to the ground. Arms can either extend overhead or hands can come to heart center here. If you would like, rising to a high crescent. And from this position, bringing your right elbow to your left knee for a revolved crescent lunge. Twists are good for aiding and detoxing, but they're also good for bringing out parts of the ego. So letting go of things that are not serving you during your practice here today. Remembering to breathe. Slowly coming back to center. Bringing your hands to meet that front foot, stepping back. High to low plank. Inhaling upward facing dog. Exhaling downward facing dog. Taking a few moments. One thing that we like to do in yoga, especially in a power yoga class, is to work on the core, because the core is our center in yoga. It really aids in keeping the poses strong. So from downward facing dog, inhale, your right leg will rise. Exhale, step it through between the hands, coming to a warrior two. From warrior two, we'll move into a side angle pose. So this time, instead of your front hand coming to your knee, we're going to reach that front hand down towards our foot, either grabbing a block or reaching for your ankle or for the mat, whichever is easiest here for you. So the arms are sort of parallel here. Being sure to check in with that front knee, making sure it's aligned with the ankle, it's not coming over the ankle here. Coming back up into a warrior two position. On your next exhale, cartwheel your hands down to meet the front foot, and we'll meet in a high plank, and we'll stay here. From here, you have the option to drop your knees, as we'll be moving into a side plank pose. So the right hand will come to the center of your mat. Once you find that position, we'll open up the left side body, so the left hand will come up towards the ceiling. Holding it for a few breaths. If you find yourself shaking here, it's the muscles building and becoming stronger. It's a good thing. Slowly releasing that left hand back down to the mat. Coming into downward facing dog. Doing this on the left side, so inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, step the foot between the hands. Rising to our warrior two pose. From warrior two, side angle pose, so reaching forward and down for our block, our shin or the mat. Rising back up to warrior two position. Circling the hands down to meet the front foot, stepping back, high plank. Moving into our side angle pose on the left side, so left hand comes to center. Options to drop the knee here if you would like. As you begin to open up to the right side, right fingertips reach towards the ceiling. Focusing on your breath here. Inhaling, exhaling. Allow your hand to release towards your mat, coming back to a downward facing dog. Or if you'd like to take a moment, at any time, you're welcome to come into a child's pose. The real teacher here is the experience you're feeling in your body. We're learning to listen to our body. So we wouldn't want to do anything that causes us pain. But we do want to learn how to breathe through feelings of being uncomfortable. If you are in a child's pose, coming back to downward facing dog. Moving into our triangle series. So on your inhale, the right leg will rise. Exhale, step it through between the hands for warrior one. So the difference between warrior one and warrior two is that back heel will drop, except instead of it being at a 90-degree angle, the heel is down and the foot is at a 45-degree angle. When we rise up, our chest is facing forward and our arms are extended overhead. Our front knee is still bent, and it's okay that our hips are open here. The hips are not square to the mat, just the shoulders. From warrior one position, on your exhale, you'll airplane your arms behind you, slightly bowing forward. Inhale, rising back up to warrior one. Exhale, airplane the arms behind you. Inhale, rise back up to warrior one. Opening up to warrior two. So circling the arms out into a T. That back foot will come to a 90-degree angle. From warrior two, moving into triangle pose, so straightening out your front knee here. Shifting that back hip as you begin to reach forward and down for either your block, your shin, or the mat. Top hand reaching towards the sky. Being sure not to lock the knee here, so there's just a slight bend in the knee. Rising back up into a warrior two position. And then we can straighten out that front leg, and you'll rotate your front toes to mimic your back toes. So we're coming into prasarita, so a forward fold. So your toes are pointing forward. From here, your hands will come to your hips. On your inhale, gaze will come forward, just a slight back bend. And on your exhale, folding at the hips, allowing your head, your neck, your shoulders, your lower back to release down towards your mat here. Giving yourself a moment to enjoy this pose, a calming of the nerves. Right hand will come to center as you're in this forward fold for a gentle twist as the left hand reaches up towards the sky. Slowly releasing that hand back down to the mat. The left hand will come to center as the right hand reaches towards the sky. Inhaling and exhaling. Releasing your hands. And then slowly begin to walk your fingertips to meet your front foot, which was our right foot. Stepping that right foot back, taking a chaturanga, so high to low plank. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, step in between the hands for warrior one. Arms will extend overhead, chest is forward, core is actively engaged. On your next exhale, slightly bowing forward as your arms airplane back behind you. Inhaling back to warrior one. Exhale, airplaning the arm. Inhale, rise to warrior one. Exhale, bowing forward. Inhale, rise to warrior one. Opening up to warrior two. So slightly opening up that back foot so it's at a 90-degree angle. Checking in with your knees here. Moving into triangle pose, straighten out your front knee. Reaching forward and then down for your block, your shin, or your mat. We're in triangle pose. From triangle pose, we will move into prasarita, so forward fold. So coming up from triangle as if you're in that warrior two position. Straightening out the front knee, rotating the left toes now to mimic the back right toes. So your toes are facing forward. Hands will come to your hips, or if you would like, you can interlace your fingers behind your back, like so. Reaching your fist down towards the mat as you slowly begin to bend forward. Whichever feels most comfortable to you. This is a good shoulder stretch. If your hands are interlaced behind your back, slowly releasing the hands down to the mat. And then walking your hands to the right side, towards your right ankle. Taking a moment here. Remembering that the harder you are on anything, especially when getting into a yoga pose, the faster it breaks down. So we want to be gentle with ourselves here. We're not forcing anything to happen. Now slowly walking the hands to the other side. Maybe this side looks different. That's okay. Walking the hands back to center. Coming to a halfway lift so you're on your fingertips here. And then walking your fingertips to meet your front foot to the top of your mat. Slowly rotating the knees, stepping that front foot back to meet the back foot, slowly lowering down. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Inhale, look towards your hands. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise to mountain pose. Exhale, slowly release your arms down towards your side body. Moving into tree pose. We'll practice some balance today. I know I can use a little more balance in my life. Yoga is definitely a safe place to practice these concepts. So to start, we want to ground ourselves, right? So we'll start with our right foot. So we'll engage our right quad, which will feel like lifting up the knee here when you engage your quad. Being active and keeping our muscles engaged in our pose helps us with stability. So once you feel that lifting in your right knee, start to begin to engage your core as well. That kind of sucking in as if you're like putting on a tight pair of jeans kind of feeling. From here, we'll bring the left foot into a kickstand position. So the sole of the left foot is going to come to the right ankle. Hands can either stay at your sides or they can come to heart center. You may stay here, or if you would like, you can bring the sole of your left foot to your shin or to your inner thigh, being sure to avoid the knee. Now is a good opportunity to set what we call a Dritsky focus. So choosing a focal point in front of you and setting your gaze there. Softening the eyes. Moving away from distraction and into direction. If you're feeling playful, allowing the branches of your tree to expand up overhead. And then slowly releasing this pose, allowing your foot to come down to the mat again. Maybe shaking out the ankles here if you need to. Preparing to ground ourselves on the left side. So shifting our weight over into our left leg, engaging our left quad, slightly lifting up that left knee. Engaging the core. Bringing the sole of the right foot first to the ankle as a kickstand. Hands can stay at your sides or come to heart center. And when you're ready, bringing the sole of the right foot either to your shin or your inner thigh. Setting your focus. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Again, if you feel playful, extending your branches out long, they're growing. And if you want to practice even more balance, now a gust of wind is coming and your branches are swaying in the wind. Slowly releasing your feet back down to the earth. Shake it out. Once you have found stillness, inhaling your arms back up to mountain pose. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Step it back to high plank pose. Staying here. If you would like, you have the option to drop your knees and stay in the plank position for 10 seconds. Again, we're building that core here. We're building that power in this power yoga class, which we will be talking about in just a moment. But from your plank pose, if you're still in plank with your knees lifted, you'll bring your right toes out to the side and back in, and then the left. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back into a tabletop position if you aren't already. From tabletop, we'll simply just bring our legs over, coming to a seated position. Moving into our boat pose. So in boat pose, we're on our sit bones. We're sort of creating a V shape with our body here. Your hands can either be underneath the knees, supporting the thighs, as you begin to slightly shift your weight back. If you would like, your arms can extend long out in front of you. The shins can come parallel to the ceiling. And if you're feeling like you'd like even more of a challenge, you can begin to extend your legs long. Breathing here. From here, we're slowly going to lower ourselves down. Taking a moment. Preparing ourselves again for boat pose, so coming onto our sit bones. Creating that V shape. Extending our arms out long. If you would like, extending the legs. Moving into half boat. So when we do this, we extend our legs out and we slowly bring our backs down towards the mat as well. Keeping our legs up from the ground here. Keeping our shoulders and our head up as well. Coming back into a boat pose. Lowering back down to half boat. One more time, boat pose. And then slowly allowing yourself to come all the way down onto your mat when you're ready. Bridge pose is next. So bending your knees so that the soles of your feet are on the earth here. Your arms are at your side. Your heels will go as close to your butt as is possible for you. Your palms are facing down towards the ground. And when you're ready, begin to slightly lower your lower back off of the ground. Sending your hips up to the air. If you would like, interlacing your hands. Tucking your shoulders in underneath you, bringing your chest to your chin, being sure not to move your neck here. Inhaling and exhaling. Slowly lowering yourself back down to your mat. Again, preparing for bridge pose. Arms are at your sides, heels are in. Begin to bring your lower back off the mat, sending your hips up. Breathing. Slowly lowering yourself back down to your mat. If you'd like, you can take this bridge again, or if wheel is in your practice, you begin to set up for wheel pose. So for bridge, again, keeping your arms to your sides, bring your hips up towards the air here, bringing your chest towards your chin, holding it as you inhale and exhale through your nose. If you're in wheel, you can begin to bring yourself down. Slowly bringing your bridge back down to the mat. You'll bring your knees in towards your chest as if you're giving yourself a hug or you're in a ball. Just squeezing everything together here. Squeezing the face, squeezing the toes, squeezing yourself, and then releasing it all. And when you're ready, coming up to a seated position, preparing for a seated forward fold. So your legs will extend out in front of you. Sometimes it helps me to put my arms to my side just to make sure I'm elongating my spine. From here, we inhale our arms up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, slowly folding forward. It's okay if your knees lift up from the mat here. Remembering to breathe. Knowing that inhaling and exhaling through our nose is going to allow ourselves to deepen into this pose. Slowly rising back up. Allow yourself to come all the way down to your mat from here, slowly letting your back lie down onto your mat. Coming into a reclined butterfly position, so your knees will bend again as your soles of your feet come together. Once your knees are bent, slowly allowing your knees to open up to the sides. If you have that blanket or the blocks, if it's more comfortable for you, placing that underneath your knees here. I invite you now to place your right hand towards your heart and your other hand on your lower abdomen. Noticing your breath here. Noticing your heart rate. Taking this moment to send love to yourself. knowing that power yoga is about cultivating powerful qualities. We're not here to learn handstands or to be flexible. We're here to listen to our bodies, to practice kindness, sending love to ourselves, and then extending that love to our community. Knowing that loose hamstrings won't help our relationships, kindness will, and compassion. From here, bringing your knees back together for a reclined pigeon pose. So in reclined pigeon, your legs will create a figure 4 shape as you bring your right ankle over the left knee. Option to stay here, or if you'd like, you can reach your hand in between your legs and grip the back of your right thigh. From here, you'll bring your knee in towards your chest. This pose is good for the hips, good for the hamstrings. Slowly release your foot back down to the mat. Doing this on the opposite side. So the other ankle will come over the knee. If you like, you can stay here, or you can bring your knee in towards your chest. Breathing. Slowly releasing your foot back down to the mat here. Both feet are grounded to the earth. Your knees are bent as we prepare for a supine twist. So your arms can come out to a T or to a cactus, whichever is comfortable for you. And you'll slowly allow your knees to fall over to the right side. Your gaze can stay up towards the ceiling or look over to your left hand, whichever is easiest for your breath. Bringing knees back to center, allowing them to drape over to the left side. Gaze goes towards the right hand. You always have the option to set a blanket underneath your knees or between your knees as well to help with this pose. breathing. Bringing your knees back to center. Preparing for one of my favorites, happy baby pose. Your knees will start to come to your armpits here. So they're slightly opening as you begin to bring the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. You have the option to grab your big toes with your peace fingers. So the two fingers you make a peace sign with, wrapping those around your big toes or reaching for the soles of your feet here. I invite you to either rock from side to side if you would like. Perhaps you stretch out one leg. Maybe you stretch out the other. Maybe you can stretch out both. Just finding some movement in this pose, allowing yourself to play, to release. And when you're ready, finding stillness, coming into our final pose of the practice, Shavasana, allowing all of your limbs to stretch out, laying down onto the ground, taking up as much space as you need. Take up as much space as you need. Releasing any tension in the face, the eyebrows, the jaw. Allowing the earth underneath you to absorb any tension or feelings as you begin to sink a little deeper into the earth. Coming back to the natural rhythm of your own breath. We'll be in Shavasana for a few moments. Allow yourself to sink a little deeper, and I will guide you out of this pose when it is time. Begin to bring awareness back into the body, slowly wiggling the toes and your fingertips. And with eyes closed, coming onto the right side body into a fetal position. We choose the right side because it slows down the heart rate. Taking a moment here to breathe. With eyes closed, find your way into a seated position. Hands will come to heart center. And we'll just exhale anything out the mouth right now. Let it out. Inhaling together. Exhale, sigh out. Inhaling. I want to thank you for letting me guide your practice today. You came to practice knowing that we'd be doing yoga, but not knowing exactly what we would do. You went with the flow. Know that you can do this anytime in your day, whatever is presented to you. Knowing that you are capable of going with the flow. Knowing that your breath is there to support you in anything that you do. The light in me honors and cherishes the light in each of you. Thank you, Asia, for being my student today. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, both of you. Really, this is fantastic. Tessie and Asia, I'm going to let you go. We'll just do some final announcements. But again, thank you. This was much needed, and it is recorded, so it's going to live on No Studio's YouTube page and on our website, so people can benefit from this forevermore. So I'll be doing that for sure. I can tell you that. Excellent. So we will see you soon, hopefully again very soon.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we'll let them go. And coming up this week still, we have In Conversation with David Henry Huang. John will be speaking with this renowned playwright, just a fantastic artist. And then on Friday, for our unplugged performance, our music performance, we have neo-soul rapper Shlee Berry, which is going to be very cool. Shlee is one of my favorites. They've been here before, and it's always a good time. So until then, everyone stay safe, stay well, and we will see you next time. Bye now.
Music is the way that I unplug, and I can get lost in it and forget about everything.
Music is relief. The only time my mind is clear.
Music is a snapshot of where I am in my endeavor of trying to find my song.
Music is my soul and the reason why I feel empowered to be myself every day.
Everyone's got a well of depth and melody inside of them, and this is kind of our job as musicians, to be able to pull that out. Music is an actual universal language, more than a metaphor. I think that's literally true. Music for me is unity and expression, because it kind of brings all the different people together.
Even before I could talk, I was playing air guitar. It's my lifeblood.
Music is life force to me. It gives us a space to unplug.
Out in my skin, been the best since day one in my thoughts. Don't come my way, don't come my way. True colors don't fly, no flies are here. I don't feel like the man, I'm still thinking with myself. I'm the shit, it's clear. Rather could it be